got back pain from a herniated disc, this is going to be a helpful series of exercises that can be done in less than 10 minutes to relieve that pain. This will be especially helpful for people who are golf players or who sit at their desk for long periods of time. Let's jump right into it. First caveat that we should make sure that we mention is that these exercises, if they cause any increase in pain or if they cause a reproduction of symptoms, then that's an indication that that's actually not going to be helpful for you. And obviously that might seem like it's common sense, but most people still believe the myth that no pain means no gain. And we have to define what kind of pain or sensation you're experiencing. So if you're experiencing a reproduction of the symptoms like radiating pain, sharpness going down your leg, all of those are indications that this is not the exercise you should be doing, or maybe you're doing it in the incorrect way. So the first exercise we're going to do is called a prone press up. We're here on our stomach and we're going to press up into this position. And the reason why this exercise is going to be helpful is because when our disc herniates, it's like a jelly-filled donut squeezing out of our back. So if you imagine your spine is like a donut that squeezes the jelly out, we want to get the jelly back in. And so what we're doing is we're in this position and we're pushing up, and this is going to be helpful. We're going to hold this position for about 5 seconds and do 10 repetitions. If that feels good, we're going to do a second round. We may only be able to do 5 because of how uncomfortable this position may be. And we have to separate discomfort from pain or reproduction of our symptoms. So this might be uncomfortable, but if it's not painful or causing a reproduction of the same symptoms you usually feel, then that's an indication you may be able to continue with that exercise, doing 2 rounds of 5, progressing from there and so forth. Now, the next exercise we want to do is not only engage our core, but we also want to help that core get stabilized to help the disc prevent from being herniated again. So we're going to lie on our back and we're going to draw our tummy in, draw our belly button straight to our spine, just a little bit, not too much. And we're going to march, lifting that leg up. You should be able to breathe while you do this exercise. So you're drawing the belly button toward the spine and holding it while you march in that position. We want to stabilize that core and help the spine to get used to being supported by our core and not overwhelmed, causing the back to herniate and our disc to bulge. So draw that tummy in and hold it while you're doing this motion, and we're going to march. You can put on a timer for a minute to see if you can hold that core contraction for a minute, or you can do it for 30 seconds and do 3 to 5 repetitions of this. The other way that you can do this is doing 3 rounds of 10 with each march being 1. So this is 1 and this is 2 and that's 3. We can do 3 rounds of 10 just like that. But this is going to be important to stabilize the spine. One of the reasons why people disc herniate is because they have a weak core. So a lot of times you might see people with greater abdominal fat. If you have that kind of predicament, that can be one of the root causes for why there's pain. So things like medications, cortisone injections are not going to resolve the root issue, although they might help to relieve the pain temporarily. So exercises like this actually help us to get to the root issue. Losing belly fat can be very important to this process, to preventing further back pain or from it getting worse, even having after you've had some kind of PT intervention like physical therapy or some kind of injection, things of that nature. This is going to be the long-term solution for you get on a routine. Next exercise we want to do is called a side plank. Now we're going to get on our side like this, knees bent, and we're going to lift up in this position. As we're here in this position, we're going to feel that core activate. We want our disc to be supported and our spine to be supported from all directions. When we're doing this exercise, we don't want our hips dropping like this. We want it nice and up, and this can be difficult. So you might want to hold this for 10 seconds and do 5 repetitions. Or you might be even stronger. You might be able to do this for 20 seconds, doing 3 to 5 repetitions. But this is going to be one that, based on your physical capacity, you'll be able to mitigate pain by making sure you do whatever is within your capacity range. So that might be 10-second holds. That might be starting off 5-second holds. That might be starting off 20 or 30-second holds and doing several repetitions. And we always want to make sure that for exercises that are one-sided, we do both sides and we hold that position. Now, for some people, you might just be able to do this for 3 times a day, do it for a minute, and this can be very helpful. This is more likely going to be for the active individual if you're doing it for a longer duration of time, for like a minute, doing it 3 times a day to really help you. So for someone who's like a power lifter, bodybuilder, who's lifting in the gym, who has back pain because of herniated disc, maybe the form went wrong one day doing a particular lift, this is going to be a good one to really help build that confidence and that stability when it comes to your back not herniating or bulging again. So the last exercise I want to show you before I show you the things you should avoid doing when you have a herniated disc, so I want to show you a hip hinge, a very important exercise to our process. Hip hinge is a tough one that some people don't really understand how it helps them, but one of the things you want to make sure that you do when you do this hip hinge, and I'll use a little device to help us. All right. So a foam roll or some kind of like broomstick or a dowel that's long can help you to make sure you do this correctly. You want to make sure that you hinge at the hip and not at the spine. So I don't want to bend my back. I want to be able to hinge at the hips. So my hip is the tipping point, back stays straight, and this is how I want to do this exercise. So I can do this without any supportive device. I want to hinge at the hip, gonna feel tightness in the hamstrings there, and come back up. I want to practice this exercise or this motion because I want to get used to moving at the hips and not rounding at the spine. Now, practicing this in the mirror can be very helpful, so that way you're able to see how you actually look, making sure the spine stays nice and erect versus rounding out. We can begin to incorporate this with weight, and this is helpful for people who do weightlifting, who maybe hurt their back, who are afraid to lift again. This is going to be important to practice without any weight. Get the form down, all of those great things. Look in the mirror, use the foam roll. You can get an extra long foam roll that you can use to help you tilt and keep that nice posture. You should feel the tension at the hips through the hamstrings, feel that nice tension when you tilt over, right? Making sure the spine is not rounded out. That's very important. So those are some of the exercises to be done. One of the things you want to think about is getting on a consistent regimen of using these exercises, consistent repetitions, several days a week, several times a day for some of them. And if you want a guided program to be created for you for 100% free, hit the link in our description to talk to a PT first to get more information on how we can help you get back to 100% after a herniated disc injury. Let me show you what to avoid right now. Things you should avoid are things like toe touches, prolonged toe touches, especially if you just have a herniated disc and it's recent. This is gonna open up that spine and push that disc out further. You wanna avoid those kind of things. You wanna avoid things like hamstring stretches where you're reaching for your toes. So these kind of exercises are gonna be less helpful for you right now. This is really gonna cause that disc to bulge. When you think about a herniated disc, think about something bulging or shooting out from where it's supposed to be. So when you're doing these kind of exercises, or any exercise that puts you in this position, you wanna be mindful. Even if you're doing a squat and you're finding that your posture is getting out of position, you're having back pain, that's most likely an indication that you're doing it wrong, you're compensating at the wrong place. So these basic principles can be translated to any particular exercise that you're doing, making sure that you're not here in that kind of position. So when you're doing a sit-up, again, watch me go into that curling motion, and that curling motion is helping the disc to herniate. This doesn't mean that sit-ups are bad exercises, but what it does mean is that not all exercises are made equal, and not all exercises are meant and made to be done at all times for all individuals based on where you're at in your recovery process or in your physical capacity. So what this simply means is that there are other exercises that we can do to strengthen the core, similar to what I showed you in terms of the bracing, where you're on your back and you're marching like so, bracing that core. You should be able to count and breathe. Don't hold your breath while you're doing any core exercise. You should always be able to talk, to breathe, or to at least count out loud so you don't increase your blood pressure while you're doing the exercise. Other exercises for core stability that can help you are things like a dead bug hold. These are good ones, but again, it all really depends based on how bad your disc herniation is and how strong your core is at the time for you to be able to do certain exercises, maintaining good form and being able to prevent exacerbations of pain. If you found this video helpful, like it and let me know what was helpful for you about this video. and follow the page for more helpful content. Hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all the videos we make to help you stay healthy, pain-free, fit, and mobile, and to discover the wealth that starts with your health. It's Dr. Toby here. I'll see you guys in the next video, and thanks for subscribing.